So, we're talking a lot about kids this podcast, I noticed, aren't we?
Unfortunately.
Rudy, Sean, Doherty. Well, this is, and that last one was hard. And this one is going to be just as hard. So, trigger warning, it's not a mystery, but it is horrific violence against children. And that is the case of Chad Doerman. So I saw this when it first came out, and this happened in New Richmond, Ohio. If you haven't heard of it, it's really, really tragic. So we have a bill of particulars that came out, which this was, it was filed in July. And we found out the details of, like, what actually happened that day. And I've been wanting to cover this for a while, and I finally decided to, because he has his next court appearance September 12th, and I wanted to, like, go through what actually happened to them, and also kind of talk about, like, what could have driven him to this. Because it's a father. And he chose to take some lives and leave others, which I think is odd.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
That is strange.
So, basically, here, I don't know why. This document loads super weird. It, like, blanks out and cuts off. So, oh my gosh. 1 minute. It's just blanking out. I don't know why. So, June 15th, at their house, 1965 Laurel Lindell Road in New Richmond, Ohio, Chad got home early off work that day, and he took his wife, which his wife's name is... I know I wrote her name down here. I don't know, Laura Hensley. So,
okay.
His wife and his 3 sons, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase, and he takes them all in there for a nap. His stepdaughter is in the living room watching TV. So they all go lay down and take a nap, and these are all really young kids, ages 7, 4, and 3. They lay down for a nap, and at some point, he gets up, and he loads a Marlin Model HC, it says 22 millimeter rifle.
Oh.
And then he proceeds to shoot one of the children. Now, in this document, it has all of the names redacted. I've heard people say who actually is who, but there's a reason it's redacted, and I'll just leave it blank. It doesn't really matter. He shot one of them, of the 3 sons. Twice. He shot him twice.
Oh, man.
So the mom immediately starts aiding the son, okay, and as he's screaming, run to the other kids. And at the same moment, the stepdaughter runs in from the living room and witnesses this, and the other kids disperse. Well, at least the other older one did, okay? Because the 3-year-old, like, it's going to be really confusing. So the other bigger child runs out and into the back door into the field, and because there's a field behind their house. And the stepdaughter runs after him, screaming, keep running. And Chad pursues him and raises his gun and shoots him, and he falls to the ground. And he walks up to him, looks at the stepdaughter, looks back at him, and shoots him in the head.
What?
The stepdaughter, then runs to the house and grabs the 3-year-old and takes off running to the road, the front of the house. He runs after them, and he catches up to her once they reach the road, and he points the gun at her and says, put him down. And she is terrified. She's really young. I think maybe like 12 or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. She's a young teenager. And she's really scared, and she says, please, like, she's begging him, don't shoot me, and she sets him down. He aims the gun at the 3-year-old and tries to fire the gun, and he ran out of bullets. So then he goes back to the house where the mom is she, I guess, brought the one that got shot in the house outside, and because it says she's in the side yard trying to render aid. And I guess the 3-year-old at that same time ran to the mom. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh. So he runs back to the mom, and the mom's like trying to take care of him. She, I guess, picks him up, and then Chad and her, at some point he reloads. It doesn't specify exactly when he could have done that. But at some point he reloads, and also at some point he goes and gets the son that was in the field and brings him to the front yard. And then they start fighting over the 3-year-old. So at some point he bites her like they're fighting over this kid. He bites her, and she grabs the firearm and puts her thumb over the barrel. And he shoots, and her thumb gets shot. And, of course, she drops the kid. And he shot the little kid close range in the head. And then laid him next to his brothers. Okay? So that's all really, really, really rough.
Awful.
Yeah, so the 2 older ones got 4 shots. The youngest one got 1. And he laid them all out in the front yard, sat on the front porch, and laid the rifle down and just sat there. So while all this was going on, so when the 3-year-old ran back to the mom, the sister decided, I'm going to go get help. She runs down the road screaming, my stepdad's trying to kill everyone in my family. Like, she's screaming, and she has a dog with her. And she goes running to the fire department. There's somebody in a car who stops and to talk to her and is like, get in the car, like trying to help her. And she's like, I can't leave my family. And she asks them to call 911. They call 911, and she goes into the fire department. And I believe the fire department makes her stay there. And because they don't know if he's coming after her. They're not sure.
I get it.
So the police come out there, and that's where we see this horrible, eerie body cam footage, which is what made this case it was all over YouTube and the media because it's horrible. The police are, parked back on like the side of the street, like in the front. You can see the house to the right. And they're all they know is there's an active shooter. Okay, so they're like taking their precautions, making sure they can get sights on him.
Sure.
And then as they're like approaching, they are shouting commands like "Put your hands up, lay down." He is ignoring them entirely, just casually sitting there. And I think he's smoking a cigarette, if my memory serves me correct. If you haven't seen the body cam footage and you can handle it, go watch it. But you can see a big black, like it's like redacted of that's where the kids are laid out in the front yard. And as they're walking up, the mom is screaming, saying like, you took my life from me, and oh my God, they're so little. They rush her to the hospital. They throw him down on the ground, and they start handcuffing him, and he starts saying stuff like, I ain't gonna hurt you, man. I'm not drunk. I'm not angry. I'm not gonna hurt you. Telling them like the dog, do this and he won't bite or whatever. And then he yells at somebody to get inside. I don't know if he's talking to the dog or the daughter, like if she came back at some point. Like, I don't know who he's yelling at to get inside. And in the background, you can see the other police officer look at the kids and then, like, drop to his knees and, like, trying to help them. And that's a big thing that's been brought up in this case, is that this was, like, extremely traumatic for the police officers. Because, like, the prosecuting attorney, when they were talking in the bond hearing, was like, it's easy to forget these police officers. A lot of them have kids, you know, and they had to hold these little boys in their arms and know they couldn't help them, that they were gone.
Yeah.
And Chad's trying to talk to him, like, they're walking him back to the car, and he's like, can you get my wallet out of my pocket? And the cop's like, shut up, dude. You have, like, the right to remain silent. Use it. You know? It's clearly an annoyance, and it's just really strange. His demeanor was really weird.
Yeah.
No, it didn't seem like he had any adrenaline.
It's super weird. Like,
0 adrenaline.
how old is he?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. You can look it up.
I'm just curious for mental health reasons, because in late 20s, early 30s is when that comes out, you know?
Well, some things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he confesses. And we haven't seen the video of his confession. At least
32.
I haven't yet. He's 32?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of late.
No.
So we haven't seen the confession or anything, but they did say that he admitted to starting to plan this in, like, October. He'd been planning it for months.
What? These are the cases that drive me insane and will literally keep me up at night, you guys, because of the why. I am not somebody who can deal with not knowing a why. I need to understand. Was he a sociopath that didn't have, like, true feelings and maybe saw the boys as a threat? Did he have a mental break because he's in his early 30s, even if it's later than some? It's between, like, you know, late 20s, early 30s, certain mental health issues can come up. Is it that? Like, what is it? I need to understand why, because things don't happen for no reason.
Yeah.
There is always a why.
Yeah, and, you know, there was an interview by a neighbor, Richard Canant. I think it's supposed to be Keenan, maybe. He said that Chad yelled at his wife and kids all the time, and that he was angry every day. There wasn't a day where he wasn't yelling at his wife and kids. And that he went on to say he can still see those babies. That's all he sees when he walks outside every day. And there were several neighbors that said he had an anger problem and he was a drunk. And he would just yell obscenities at them and just talk down to them. So clearly there were some red flags. But then his own father came out to say, which I believe his name is Keith Doerman. Yeah, it's Keith. He said that he was, like, an amazing father, and he must have just snapped, and they won't let me talk to him. I don't know if it's, like, financially motivated. Like, I don't know, because I can't talk to him. But he said, I could tell he was hollow. I could tell in his eyes he was hollow inside. That wasn't Chad standing at the arraignment. That was not him. And in the arraignment, he's in one of those, like, those vests they put you in, like what we saw Koberger in. Just, he's on self-deletion watch.
Yep.
And shooters, I think.
Yep, it's bulletproof.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, he's standing there, and he put on, like, I don't know if it was a performance or it was genuine, because he was, like, showing emotion at that point. Okay. And I even saw in some of the body cam footage, because I think his demeanor was really odd for people, so that's why I think the police started releasing body cam footage of him before the hearing too. Yeah. And then, like, preparing him to go in there, and he's crying. Like, he starts crying.
Okay.
It's really weird. But he admitted fully, like, he's like, I did it. Like, I did it. But then he pled not guilty to everything, which his charges. He faces 21 counts, 9 counts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of I don't know why I always have trouble saying that word. Felonies? Is it
what, felonies?
Felonious assault. Like, I always
Okay.
have trouble saying that word.
I think it's just felony assault.
No, it's felonious. Is it felonious? I don't remember. It's
Oh.
not felonies. But yeah, so they set his bond to, like, was it it's $20 million.
Yeah.
Which is the highest they've ever set.
That means you'd have to come up with $2 million. Yep.
I don't think they did that. I think they can actually set the percentage.
I think okay, if you go to like a bondsman, it's 10%, I'm pretty sure, up front.
Okay, anyway, that's the highest bond they said they've ever set there.
And that's only if you don't show up. So you give 10% up front, and then if you don't show up, something.
Yeah, I understand all of that. Yeah. So, and he talked about how serious this is like the most serious crime you can commit, and there is nothing more serious, and they absolutely are going for the death penalty and want to see him executed. And they just talk about the horror of it, like how it affected the community, how it affected the police officers and first responders, and just how terrible it was for this town.
I mean, it's awful. Have you heard any details? Because I feel like this is going to be one of those cases that we're going to end up doing a follow-up on and dig deeper, because I've said this a million times till I'm blue in the face, but, you know, I'm pretty new to true crime since we just started this podcast, so, like, I'm catching up on old cases and current cases, and there's a lot out there I haven't heard at all, and I knew the name. Like, I seen the name pop up in videos, but I didn't know the situation. This is legitimately the first time I've heard it. What is super strange to me when I'm hearing this is why the boys knew to run and the girl didn't.
And the mom told him to run, and their brother was shot.
Yeah, but the sister was running, focused on the brother, telling him to keep running. It doesn't sound like she was focused on herself.
Well, he did threaten her with the gun, but that's
not really.
What is odd to me is only the boys. He only shot the mom in the thumb to get to the boys. He only pointed the gun at the girl to get to the boy.
I know. That's why.
Yeah.
Why did the boys know to run, but the girl didn't have the same sense of urgency to get away from him as the boys did? Even the sister was concerned about the oldest boy. Like, run further, run faster, whatever she was saying or whatever. Her concern was him, not herself.
And then going back to the house to help the other boy.
And then going to get the other boy. It was. There's something here. Something happened before this horrible situation that all of them knew. For whatever reason, the boys were the target. Was he way harder on them always?
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like,
Probably.
Why did the two women know, like, right off the rip, the boys are going to be the target? I'm not saying there's some kind of knowledge like the mom and the sister are guilty. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a pre-existing dynamic there that because something crazy was going on, the boys knew they needed to get the hell out. And the women knew they needed to get the hell out.
That the boys needed to get out.
The boys needed to. Yes. That the boys needed to get the hell out.
Yeah, I questioned.
It's weird.
Like, because normally when you hear about, like, a father, committing something like this, it's usually the whole family. It's not just, only the boys.
It is. I don't get
it. So my immediate question was, this a revenge against the wife? But then why didn't he get the girls? Is it because that wasn't his biological daughter? But he called her his daughter when he was talking to the cops. And then he was like, well, my stepdaughter.
Is there more to this? Does he have...
We don't know.
Something wrong with him? Does he have some kind of weird urges and he hates himself and saw them as a reflection of himself? You know what I mean?
They look a lot like him.
Yeah. It again, it's the why. This will keep me up thinking. Like when I'm driving, because I drive hours a day, like I'm not going to be able to not think about it. The whys bother me.
Yeah.
Why?
See, we don't have any other knowledge. That's what's so hard about it, is because I want to know why too. That's what bothers me. What made him make this decision? What made him choose the little boys? Like, what could have that have been? And that's why I thought, well, is it a revenge against the mother? Were they having problems and it was revenge against her? That's kind of a good point, seeing a reflection of himself in the boys.
I don't think it's her.
Yeah, but she was saying, like, you took my whole life from me.
I mean, because he did, but that doesn't mean that ending them was about her. Because, man, too many times we see that if it's about her, if something's going on with her, it would have been her.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there's something more to it. It's something in him. That's what it feels like to me. It's something in him. Some kind of obsession, some kind of self-hate, some kind of messed up white knight, feeling like he's doing justice by getting rid of these kids type situation. That's how it almost feels like to me.
Because he's a piece of crap and they're an extension of him?
Yes. That's what I'm wondering. With him being calm and no adrenaline or anything like that, like it feels like he had some sort of...
justice to do?
Yeah, justice feeling in him that...
like
for whatever
mission
reason,
accomplished?
some obsession in him made him feel like that was justified. That's the only thing I can come up with here.
And there's been a lot of people online, saying really mean stuff about the mom. Do not do that. This is no fault of hers.
She's a victim.
She is a victim.
What are people saying, that she could have stopped it?
Yeah, so stuff like that, and like she should have known, and like, clearly from what we see in this document, she was fighting to save their lives. Like, she got bit and shot. Like, she was fighting to save their lives the whole time. And I'm sure it was extremely shocking. Like, you all lay down and take a nap together, and you just wake up to him shooting one of your kids and then hunting them. Like, he literally hunted them down.
Yeah.
It's really weird. But
it's so disturbing.
The community has really surrounded them and tried to help them. There's a GoFundMe page, which I would like to post. And the baseball league is accepting... Okay, the New Richmond Youth Sports Association is also collecting donations. There's a family friend that organized a GoFundMe. And also a GoFundMe through the boy's aunt. And there have been people coming out and talking about them. So this kind of talks about who the boys were. They were a pack, like they were the Doerman boys. And they would walk hand in hand down to fish or catch worms. They were full of giggles and their laughter was contagious. On the baseball diamond, the oldest was a feisty left-hander, but also a team player. I was just with them less than a day before on the field, having a great time, encouraging his teammates, said Dwayne Kunn, the New Richmond River Bats head coach. The 7-year-old came up to him during the game and said, "It's okay, buddy. I struck out too. It's no big deal. We all do it." And that's just the kind of kid he was, Kunn said. I would often be the one throwing to him because which they're talking about the 4-year-old, I think, because it's still coach pitch and just the seriousness of his eyes. He would nod, "I'm ready, let's go." So the boy's aunt said they're beautiful and deserve to be proudly displayed. They loved fiercely and with their entire hearts, and they need to be seen for the blessings they were, the happy lives that they lived. From what I heard, the littlest one like loved dinosaurs and like trucks and stuff, and very typical little boys, you know.
Yeah, it's super sad.
They've
it's
organized
really sad.
they've organized lots of stuff in the community to honor them. You know, created memorials, done events and stuff, and it's super, super sad looking into their little faces. Imagining how terrified they were.
I see one picture of Chad Doberman in court, and to me, that emotion looks fake.
You think it's fake?
I haven't watched any footage on this, you guys. None. I have not seen how he was in court, but just the still shot, in my opinion, looks fake.
A lot of people think he was faking. But now we can't watch the court hearings anymore because they ruled against it. They were trying to get it changed to a different place because of the media coverage, and that's not happening. And they also wanted to put a gag order on everything, the defense did, but the judge said no. He put like a temp gag order on some stuff and said no more cameras in the courtroom.
Do we have a man with a head injury?
I don't know.
Head injuries are so serious and change somebody's entire being, who they are, their person.
It can.
That it just makes me wonder.
So he went into a little clinic at Kroger the day before, or no, that day before he came home. He went to a little walk-in clinic in Kroger, which what? Why do you do that?
Why?
Not that I've seen
no
released
records
yet.
Or anything.
Not that I've seen released yet.
Huh. Strange.
Oh, that's not the only thing. He tried to strangle his father, like years before this, and there was a court case about it.
We're dealing with a psycho.
But I totally forgot about this. But the father said it was a misunderstanding, and it got dropped. How can it be a misunderstanding? You either tried to strangle your father or you didn't.
Yeah. I just need to see a history of violence.
That is the first one we know about. And the neighbors claiming that he was super violent and, well, not violent, but extremely angry and, like, aggressive and would yell at them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wild.
So, really crazy. We're going to stay updated on it. There's no new information right now. We're just waiting for basically the September court hearing. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I want to know what you guys think about it, because I swear...
why.
Yeah, the why. And also because a lot of our viewers bring amazing evidence, you know. Even if it's maybe evidence, I still want to know it. That at least gives us a starting point to look into those details a little bit further. But
agreed.
Keep it coming, please. If you guys hear anything, if you're from that area, like somewhere near that area, let us know what it's like out there right now, what's going on, if you've heard of him, if anything. I think there's going to be evidence buried in his past, okay? And I think the reason why the defense wants to put a gag order on it is because they don't want that evidence to come out. And the reason why I think that, okay, is because his painted picture in the media is horrible. Everyone's heard what he did. Everyone knows what he did. The body cam footage got released. So why put a gag order? They should be, as a defense, trying to win public opinion over. Now, if he was a great father, that would be easy to do, because this is a situation where he snapped. So every other situation in his life, he should be a good, positive person. You'd be able to at least give, you know, the comparison of the two people in that situation. But no, they went with a gag order.
Yep.
Because the past is going to add to that horrible image. That's my opinion on that. I just want to know more about the actual crime.
Yeah, agreed.
I need to know more.
I want to know the why for sure. That's what hooked me up on it from the beginning. If you have the means to support the family, or, you know, please definitely go donate to the GoFundMe. It goes towards like therapy and anything that they need, you know, because I mean, finances and all of that is probably the last thing that they need to worry about right now.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they have a community that's supporting them, and I hope they're, as good as they can be right now,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here. So,